Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam.
Hey, Nathan.
Yo, what's going on?
Excited for the Spaceman review, Adam Sandler?
You mean Space Jam?
No, I mean Spaceman. It just came out on Netflix.
Adam Sandler?
Yeah, Adam Sandler.
You mean Bill Murray?
Bill
Come on and slam, and
Oh,
welcome
no.
to the jam.
You didn't watch Space
Bro, that's
Jam.
been in my head all night.
No, Nathan, we're not doing Space Jam. We're doing Spaceman.
No
Okay.
Michael Jordan?
How much time do we have?
No Michael Jordan?
No, fuck that. We got 2 hours. We gotta watch this fucking movie. Come on.
Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 128. I'm your host, Nathan, and I'm joined by the man himself, Matthew Nevis, to my left.
Thank you.
And today we are going to be reviewing Adam Sandler's latest film, Spaceman.
Spaceman.
Before we get into it, we got the Patreon going. We got the YouTube membership going. Check us out on there if you want to support your boys. We got a exclusive Patreon show called Movie of the Month, where Nevish and I pick a film and of a certain genre, and the audience decides what film will be the movie of the month. Check us out over there. That show's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Let's get started. Let's get into Spaceman.
So the first time we got introduced to this, we reacted to the trailer.
And I was excited about it.
Really good trailer. I would say it's a really solid trailer. Something different from Adam Sandler that I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
And after watching the film, it is different.
Yes.
It's probably more different than anything that he's ever done in his career.
Yes.
Now, the question is, does that make it a good film? I feel like we're a little bit conflicted with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think at the end of the day, after watching it at 3 a.m,
Yes.
I do feel like this film is good.
Okay.
I don't think it's great.
Yeah.
I don't think it's flawless. I do think there are flaws within the film, and I feel like they could have fixed a couple things here and there and make it a little bit shorter. But overall, I could definitely see myself watching this again.
Yeah.
In the near future.
So the story of this film is Adam Sandler is an astronaut who is exploring past Jupiter.
Yes.
So he's literally the furthest away from any human anybody's ever been. And he's lonely as hell. I think he's like half a year into this trip. He has basically only contact with people virtually.
Yep.
He talks to the guy from Big Bang Theory every day.
Yeah. I was wondering, it's like, is that guy? Holy shit, it's him. Yeah.
And that's kind of the story. It's basically his marriage is falling apart. He's lonely as hell, and he's out in space.
Yep. That's about it.
That's about it. And we're kind of just going through what he's experiencing in his head.
Yep.
And his kind of day-to-day, like his mental state just kind of deteriorating while he's out there.
Yeah. And because of the fact that the story is very simple, very straightforward, and very simplistic, to the point where I was confused at a certain point when I read the synopsis. I was like, this feels like a short film.
Yeah.
And I feel like this would have worked way better as a short film.
Yeah.
Like I could totally picture Adam Sandler, 20-minute short film, with the same structure. But because it's like 100 minutes long, the both good and bad of that is the good is you can get more experimental and get more diving into visually and musically, like what is this character going through? Like you're getting the vibes from isolation. You're getting the vibes of regret, of past experiences, the future, what's gonna hold with you. Like a lot of similar things that sci-fi films have done in the past, but this one felt so different from that because of the fact that there wasn't that much dialogue. It was very visual in it showing everything like that. The negative though is that it does get repetitive. You get that repetition and it does get boring at times if you're not subscribed to that feeling.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're 100% right. It's just kind of portrayals of like a guy losing it and being lonely. And yeah, it's not dialogue heavy because it's not like he has somebody to talk to in there really.
Right.
Other than this spider.
Voiced by Paul Dano.
Hanush.
Hanush, yeah, exactly.
Which I thought was a fun character. I didn't know how I was going to feel about the talking spider from the trailer. That was kind of the only part where I'm like, is this like going like a weird like childish or like joke route?
Yeah.
And it's not.
The humor is super dry.
Yeah.
Like this is the type of humor you'd get from like a movie. I guess something similar would be like Moon. Do you ever
Yeah.
watch Moon with Sam Rockwell?
Okay, yeah, I
like
know
that
about it,
type of
yeah.
humor where it's very like one guy in a ship all alone type of But another thing to add too about this film that I really enjoyed was the person who directed this. He also worked on Chernobyl, which has a
Oh,
very
okay.
similar look to it, very similar aesthetic, I would say.
Johan Renck.
Yeah, Johan Rednick. And I love the music too. This is Max Richter, and if you don't know who he is, he composed the infamous last ending shot of Arrival. You know that?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so this guy fucking knows how to compose music, man. This guy is one of my favorite composers, and I'm so glad he was able to do this particular movie because there were moments in it where I was so like, wow, this music's like really fucking good,
Yeah,
man.
the music is 100% a character in this film,
Mm-hmm.
especially because of the lack of dialogue.
Yes.
And focus on the visuals. The music is super important in immersing us and kind of putting us in Sandler's head at times. And I think it works really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean when I say like these moments, if you're not subscribed to these emotions, to the vibes, essentially. I say vibes because I don't really know how else you can describe a movie with this simplistic of a story.
No, this movie's all vibes.
That's what I mean. So if you're not really subscribed to it, then it's going to be a slog for you. It's going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck, man. What, you got 60 more minutes?
Yeah, it's all vibes.
But I like that, especially when it cuts to his dreams, his past experiences. The way it's shot, too. I don't know what lens they used, but it was a very interesting, like, it felt like you were, like, watching his dream live.
Yeah,
You know?
I did like those dream sequences. I think they work really well. Where I think this movie falls a little bit short is the relationship with Carey Mulligan.
Yes.
Carey Mulligan obviously is a fantastic actress, one of the
Yes.
best actresses working today. I just don't think they give her a lot here.
No.
And all she could do is play the I'm lonely.
Yeah.
I'm the lonely wife sitting at home. And they don't give her more than that. Like, there's nothing for her to really.
They needed more of her and Adam Sandler together and understanding why they are who they are. Because it all felt
Yeah.
visual and not enough of like, okay, yeah, but why do you give a shit? Because all I've seen from your character, or at least Carey Mulligan's character, is I don't like him anymore. I want to go.
Yeah.
I'm done.
And then in the flashbacks, we see like one moment where they had fun and one moment where they argued. But it's not enough for me to really understand the relationship.
No, yeah. It felt like Adam Sandler's character, like his view of the whole thing, which is understandable. He's so like disconnected with reality that all he has is these vague dream moments that he has with his wife.
Yeah.
And that's all he can connect to the point where at the very ending, he's like in the space chute walking and seeing her dressed up as the first time that they've met.
Right.
You know, what does that say about his character? Is it showing how hollow he is, how lonely he is, that he's so dependent on this shit?
Yeah.
You know, they could have delved into it more, which I would have wanted, but instead you kind of get like vague relationships from both of them, which I'm not a huge fan of either. I would have wanted more scenes with them having more character.
Yeah, vague relationships is right. And do we ever see them talking to each other live?
No.
Like they have the Check Connect,
Yeah.
which I think is cool. I want to talk about like how like all the sponsored stuff in the
Yeah,
I
the
thought that was
satire.
a fun take on space. Like, of course, like everything's got to be sponsored.
Yeah.
And before Adam Sandler cleans the ship, they make him
Yeah.
say like the slogan for the cleaning product. And these are moments that I thought were pretty fun. But yeah, like we don't even get them having a conversation live.
No.
There's the one scene where the phone is there and he's confessing towards the end.
Yeah.
But
That's about it.
yeah, it's just a kind of a disjointed relationship that I wish.
And also that
felt
moment,
more.
yeah, that moment kind of fell flat too. Because if you are gonna build up to them not talking to each other until the very end, you got to do it better than that. Because it just
Yeah.
comes off like, oh, I'm talking to you now. Okay, bye. Even though I like her last line though, where they talk about the first time that they met and stuff. I like the dialogue in that. I just wish it was built up better.
I agree.
Felt like the structure was like, it was like watching Jenga blocks. Like, we kind of have a structure here, but if you think about it too much, it's just gonna start falling, you know?
Yeah, if you think about it too much and you and you stop thinking about just the vibes, it gets, if you go deeper than just the vibes,
Yeah.
it's a little disjointed here. But if you want a movie that's just for the vibes,
Yeah, man.
this is a fun one. I can't lie. I checked out some of the Letterboxd reviews, and everyone's like, "Oh, Netflix Interstellar, Netflix Interstellar,"
I also noticed that too.
and I'm like, "No, it's
Not really,
Like,
no.
not at all, really."
It's again, like, this is the guy who worked on this. It's got more of a Chernobyl aesthetic to it. It's got more of an isolated stance, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like Nolan. It's not like Denis Villeneuve. You're not getting. That's the thing I enjoyed too about it, is that it's distinct enough that those mega sci-fi directors, this is different from either of them.
Yeah.
Like, and I like that. I like that we have variety within the genre nowadays.
I mean, most of this takes place on this small ship,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this,
way lower budget. Like, what was the budget again for this?
it looks
movie?
like $40 million is what IMDb says here.
40 million. That's pretty good.
40 million. It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we get the climax scene where he goes into the purple.
Oh, that was so cool.
It was so well done. Like, very, very well done.
The sound design in that too was like, because you heard various voices as Max Richter's score comes in, and it's just like, I was thinking about it too when he's talking to the spider. Like, again, he's just talking to himself and trying to figure out like what the hell's going on in his life. What is
Yeah.
the meaning of all this? And a lot of people are probably going to label this as pretentious because of the fact that it doesn't explore more interesting characters that way. But again, like you said, it's like, it's not trying to be this conventional story. It's trying to do something way different.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it. And although I do have problems with it, like you said, the satire of the commercials and stuff, that kind of just fades away second half of the movie. They
Yeah.
like forget about it. Isabella Rossellini and the guy from Big Bang, they just get forgotten at the second half. Like, oh yeah, they don't matter anymore. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Are they going to come bring this back? No, they don't.
I know. Yeah, and even them, like, their characters kind of don't get
Not
enough
much.
love or attention. Like, I never feel like Adam Sandler's relationship to him is anything more than just work.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels like he's doing his job. He's like, oh, well, we're working on it. We're working on getting this camera. No,
Exactly.
we can't fix the toilet.
Yeah.
And it's like, you'd think that, like, this is the guy who Adam Sandler talks to the most, and that they would have a little bit more of a
Yeah.
friendlier relationship.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
Like, you know, some
but
kind
it
of,
just sounds bitter.
yeah, it does.
Like, really bitter.
yeah.
Like, this is the new guy, and he's just like, fuck, my buddy got fired, and now I gotta talk to you. Like,
That's what it does feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess maybe that heightens like the whole isolation and I have nobody thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but it works. It works,
Yeah.
man.
I think a better version of it though would be Moon with Sam Rockwell, because it does stuff similar where it's just like the guy's alone in a ship, he's talking to a robot and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess the most notable example would be 2001,
Right.
where you have one character by the end of the film isolated, and that experience is, you can't top that.
Yeah, of course.
So what do you do? And you kind of have to look at it from different perspectives, which is what Spaceman does.
Yeah.
Do I think it does it better than other versions? Yes and no. I want to say yes at times with the music and the climax of the visuals and the sound editing, but at the same time, if you're not as invested in these characters, what does it all mean?
Yeah, I think really where they miss their mark is where they try to give another dimension to this movie. Like, with, like, I guess Adam Sandler's arc here is he's coming to terms with his faults in in his relationship,
Yeah.
as well as coming to terms with his father's death.
Yeah.
And I think he's realizing a lot of choices he made in his life were to please his father.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they try to do, but the flashbacks don't give me that feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because visually it looks nice, everything about it but I do get it where it's just like, well, why you gotta do more.
Yeah, it makes the arc a little weak because the flashbacks I'm seeing and the reasons why your father was who he was, or the reasons why you have these shortcomings in your relationship, are not explained well, like in the flashbacks. So it makes his arc kind of like, at the end, it kind of just feels like, oh, he just kind of regrets coming, but he didn't learn too much.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I needed more of a contrast too.
Yeah.
Like Adam Sandler as a kid flashback, as himself, as an older version, they all have the same fucking emotion, Like, I would have wanted it to be like, oh, I'm a kid, I want to go to space and stuff. And then Carey Mulligan's like, oh, you're my spaceman. It's like, oh, yeah, I know, we are good.
Right.
No, he just sounds depressed the entire film, and you need that change.
Yeah.
You have to have that change of him being happy to him realizing the reality of being a spaceman, to coming back to terms with it and accepting who he is.
Yes.
And it's kind of just all the same.
Yeah. I agree.
So
What are your thoughts on Adam Sandler's performance specifically? Because this is a very different performance from
Yes.
Sandler, like you said. I've been loving the roles he's been picking as of late with Uncut Gems, starting with Uncut Gems, obviously, and then the Hustle, the basketball one he
Yeah.
did. I thought that was very fun, very like Sandler and well done. And this one.
Yeah, I think his late career, all those performances are distinct.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like. Like, Punch Drunk Love was kind of the first outing for him to be like, hey, yeah, I can do something more than just Happy
Yeah.
Gilmore.
But then after that, he went back to the comedies.
Yeah.
So, but now it's like, I feel like he's really actively hand selecting his roles
Yeah.
with a purpose.
Maybe
and
it's the
to
age that he's
challenge
in.
himself.
Yeah, maybe it's the age that he's in now. He's in his 50s and he's realizing that, like, you know, there's only so many Chuck and Larrys and Jack and Jills you can do in your career until even yourself you're like, I'm tired, man.
True. He's done very well in that space, in
Yeah.
that comedy space, and now he's moving on to other things, which I like. But yeah, what are your thoughts on his performance here specifically?
I thought it was solid enough. I wish they gave him more, though, like from a script perspective. But given the script that they gave him and what we saw, I thought he did a really good job.
I thought he did a really good job for the most part. I don't think he's a good crier.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he cries that I'm just like, maybe this is being too critical, but I don't know. I just wasn't really believing that.
That's
Like,
fair.
Like when he had to go into that real deep emotion bag, I wasn't really seeing it. But I think he did a good job of portraying the loneliness
Yes.
and portraying like his mental like deteriorating.
Right.
So for the most part, I can applaud his performance.
His crying in this wasn't amazing, which is funny because I remember watching Click,
Yeah.
and his crying in that was good.
I don't remember.
Oh
him
man, I don't
crying
know
in
why
that.
I thought about that, because Click has a lot of it's more emotional.
Yes,
towards the
it
end.
is, yeah,
So he
yeah.
sees his like father for the last time, and he's just watching. He's replaying that moment with his father, and I don't know. His crying in that was pretty good, but it's direction too. Sometimes it's all direction.
That's true. And this is a nitpick. Like for the most
Yeah.
part, I think Sandler is very solid in this performance. Best scene. What was your favorite scene of the film?
Favorite scene? Oh man, I'm gonna still think about that last shot. Well, not the last shot, but like the moment where he's in space with the spider.
It's cool.
And it's like all those sounds and stuff. It gave me a lot of like Interstellar in that regard with the bookshelves and
Right.
stuff, where you're using the whole universe and trying to figure out like what's going on here. Let's explore it more. Do we have all the answers? No, but let's figure out what we want to do.
Yeah.
Like,
And I liked how they always called it the beginning. I
yeah,
thought that was like a good world building that they did really well. Like the spider's always calling it,
Mm-hmm.
we're entering the beginning, and he's saying how there's no human communication to explain what that's like.
yeah,
So I like that because it's like leading up to this exciting point, and you're like, oh man, I can't wait till we get there and see what happens. And it doesn't disappoint. The voices,
Yeah.
the flashbacks, he's seeing his whole life. He's having this revelation, and that scene works really well.
yeah. I would have liked it better. Maybe call me cynical, but what if he just died? What if he just died in space?
Yeah.
I would have preferred that. No, because the whole film illustrated him in an isolated manner, and it's just like he's so disconnected with humanity and the world. It's like, where do you go from here? Like,
Right.
so that phone call feels unearned because the rest of the film didn't really build it up that well. So it's like, okay, well, what direction can you really do with it? It's like maybe she does move on, but she thinks about that moment just like Adam Sandler did, just for that brief second, and then, you know, he passes away and she moves on. It's dark. It's depressing.
But I know what you mean. The phone call felt a little unearned, and it feels like
Yeah.
his arc isn't really over, and he didn't really
No,
just learn
yeah,
all his
that
lessons.
too.
It felt like he just kind of wanted to come home.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Like maybe bring up like the people part of NASA again and him talking like, I want to go back. Get me back.
Yeah.
Like give him a good fucking scene like that where he's like, you know, he's so subdued. He's so quiet at times. Have him have a moment of like yelling and being like, I want to go back. Like, and he's releasing all this emotion that he's been holding in for like half a year.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of opportunities here that you could have done more than just what they showed.
I agree.
But as it stands, though, with Sandler, like, are people who are fans of him, specifically his comedy, gonna watch this and get something out of it? I'd like to think so. I did. I certainly did.
I certainly did as well. I think that the reviews are kind of negative though.
It's I could see it too. Like audience score and critically, like what is it on IMDb?
5.8.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I mean, it's like basically a 6. Like that's not.
It's getting lower.
Yeah.
I think people are realizing that because they thought this movie was going to be like Adam Sandler Interstellar. They're like, whoa, this epic movie, it's going to be crazy. It's like, no, it's more like an indie film.
This has become another curse of space movies, I think.
Yeah.
Similar to the way I was constantly comparing Dune to Star Wars.
Yeah.
I feel like any movie I watch that's space related now, I'm gonna compare it to Interstellar, which is the greatest space movie ever made, and that's on a little bit of unfair comparison.
Yeah.
This movie does something different. It's not Adam Sandler Interstellar,
No.
but they give a different vibe. They try something aesthetically. I think it really works. Visually, it really works. But you can't look too deep into it.
No, you can't.
Right?
Because, and if you wanted to, they had to have fleshed out the script better, in my opinion. I feel like the screenplay is the biggest issue of this film because everything else from a technical perspective, from the performances, like you have everything here.
Yeah.
You have everything here, music, direction. Like, I just feel like something with that script. You could have done more with it, but as it stands, the script feels like they extended a short film. You know, it actually reminded me a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger in Maggie, which was a film about him dealing with his daughter becoming a zombie. Very weird premise, but that's all the story is. And it's about the same runtime as this, but it's shot similar in terms of like the vibes where like they're showing shots of like a cabin and
Right.
stuff like that. And the music's raising up and stuff. Very minimal dialogue. And it's cool because you're seeing these big name actors do films like these. And you're just like, well, what are the fucking odds of us like seeing this? Like it's nice that Sandler's taking chances, but that doesn't mean it's all gonna be home runs.
Yeah. And as far as Netflix movies go,
Oh yeah.
like, you know, this is not like fucking 2015 or 2016 where Netflix was actually like a Netflix movie was a good thing at times.
Yeah.
There were, you know, like the Bird Box era and
Oh, yeah.
stuff where people were excited for the next Netflix movie. I think now they've missed the mark a lot of times with these Netflix movies. And I think this is a more solid entry of like recent times. Like, what was
Oh
it?
yeah. Like I the only one I can think of that I really enjoyed from Netflix was like Irishman. Irishman was a big
Of
deal.
course, yeah.
That was a big deal at the time. But like movies nowadays, Netflix has been moving away from directors' visions and being like, yeah, but The Rock. It's like I don't give a fuck about The Rock anymore. It's
Right.
2024.
I feel like yeah, like they're going in the Lift Kevin Hart direction.
yeah,
now.
man. And it's because well,
There's an audience for it.
There's an audience for it. And Spaceman, I can tell you, that audience is not as big as Kevin Hart or Dwayne Johnson,
I completely agree.
which sucks. But I mean, hey, at least this film got made. This feels like something that was like on the shelf for like years. And then Netflix was like, all right, since Sandler likes it, let's get it made. And it's like, well, thank God for Sandler at least. Like, at least he gives a shit enough to like try something different, you know?
yeah. We didn't talk too much about Hanush, Paul Dano's character.
Yeah, let's talk about him briefly. I really liked him.
I thought it was solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think it was forced. There's some good comedy moments in there that didn't feel too forced either. Like when he has the big Nutella jar.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun, right? And like his outside perspective of like asking him about human behaviors and stuff like that. And I think more so than his relationship with Carey Mulligan, I think the most emotional moment is when Hanush leaves.
Oh, that was like a Wilson Castaway moment.
Right.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, like, and when he's like, "No, Hanush, please, I'll do anything." Like, that's the most emotional relationship in this whole film.
Yeah. Again, it's like if you're going to do that, Castaway did that, but they didn't show the wife every like 10, 15 minutes because that defeats the purpose. Just have it just be Hanush and Adam Sandler. Imagine
Yeah.
if it was just two characters, you know, in a movie.
Yeah.
I would have preferred that more. If you are going simplistic, go simplistic, go all the way with it, and be creative with it.
Yeah, honestly, in the second half, I'm like more interested in Adam Sandler and Hanush's
Yeah.
relationship than I am with Carey Mulligan. I'm like, she's at home, bro. Like,
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit.
she's not
Like,
here. She's not here. I want to see Adam Sandler hug this spider.
yeah, I like that though because it's kind of like him accepting himself, and
Yes.
it's weird, but they play it straight, and that is effective. I wanted more of that. If anything, that could have been the whole movie. So, again, like as it stands, I feel like Spaceman, when it works, it fucking works. When you
Agree.
think about moments within the script and you look back, you're like, man, they could have done better with that. They could have fleshed that out more. They could have delved into it. But as it stands, it's not a bad film.
Yeah, is this a movie you'd recommend to someone? For me,
Yes.
it is. I
Yeah.
definitely would. It's an easy Netflix watch, like a late night watch. Like I could definitely recommend this. To
Yeah,
somebody.
man. Because like you wouldn't expect it. You're just like, all right, let's watch this. And as the film progresses, you're like, wait, what? Like there's a part in it where, again, I saw this at like 3 a.m. There's a shot with the pig, and I'm like, wait, why is that pig floating? Wait, what? Like I thought I missed something. I was like, what? So if you like that type of weird shit, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, if you're,
Yeah, Christian's laughing because like, "What, there's a pig in this?" I was like, yeah, man, pig and spider.
yeah, if you're a smoker, maybe roll up a little something before you watch it, and you might give this movie fucking 5 stars.
Yo, Spaceman, dude, it's fucking nuts, man. The fucking spider. Final thoughts with
Yeah,
Spaceman.
your
and then,
final review now. What's your-
I really enjoyed it. I think that this is probably this is my favorite soundtrack currently of the year. Max Richter. I mean, this beat out to me Hans Zimmer and a lot of other composers. Something about it just gives me a different emotion that I've never really felt before.
worked so well for the vibe.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very good in that regard. I thought Sandler, Carey Mulligan's performances were the best. I think the issues lie in the fact that there was a lot of wasted potential in the
Yeah.
script. So I would probably give this I would give it a generous 6 out of 10. 6, 5. I'm leaning to 6.
I'm also leaning towards 6, actually.
Yeah.
I think a 6 out of 10 is fair for this movie. It does some things very well, but definitely leaves you wanting more. Similar way to I felt with like Napoleon and films like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you executed some things so well, but you could have did more. Overall, another great Adam Sandler entry in his filmography, I think. And it's one I recommend. So check out Spaceman on Netflix if you haven't already.
Hell yeah.
Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to your boys. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Brush your hair.
Peace.